Greetings, shining bulls and shining bears, and welcome to this, the 31st episode of the Crypto Astrology podcast. Please note that financial astrology, similar to technical analysis, is not 100%. I, Maya Raghavan, am not an influencer. I am not a financial advisor. Rather, I am a financial astrologer using the planetary positions as data inputs in my analysis of the probable nature of price movements. I do not make your decisions for you. Your decisions are up to you. Shining Bull content is here to stimulate your own thought process as you make your own decisions relating to your own finances for yourself and by yourself. We're going to take a look at what this week holds for Bitcoin and Ether price. But first, please always feel welcome to check out the Shining Bull website where I have all kinds of offerings for all suns. I have a trading signal service for day traders, a weekly forecast for both swing and day traders, and special predictive books. I especially recommend my Bitcoin by 2026 and Ethereum by 2026 books. This is an important time to understand what the coming years will bring for Bitcoin and Ether, and these books are valuable. And if nothing is within your price range, then just follow me on Twitter or even better, Farcaster or friend.tech, and get notifications for this podcast as I'm giving out a lot of free info on here. Now, let's take a look at this week in Bitcoin and Ether price. I, the astrologer, live in Newfoundland, but I give these weekly predictions that I make on this podcast as per UTC time. Now, before beginning with the day by day, I want to mention that I see that the first half of this week through to Wednesday morning UTC, there is high potential for a strong correctional drop on the daily chart, especially for Bitcoin BTC. Then when Mercury turns retrograde on Wednesday morning UTC, I see a high potential for a strong upward rebound, which will end up setting new highs on the daily chart in the weeks to come for Bitcoin. Now, let's get into the day by day. Sunday UTC. Very early morning, I predict a drop when Moon enters Pisces in the Navamsha, where Rahu transits in the sky. In the morning, around sunrise, an upward consolidation will initiate with the Moon's entry into Vishaka. Next, Monday UTC. Very early morning, an upward consolidation is likely when Moon enters Scorpio. Monday morning around breakfast time, I see an increase in volatility, likely leading to an upward movement when Moon enters into Saturn's 10th Drishti. Midday, an unexpected volatile move reverses price direction, initiating a drop when Moon enters Virgo in the Navamsha, where Ketu transits in the sky. Early afternoon Monday UTC, a drop occurs with the Moon's reaching Saturn's exact 10th Drishti. In the evening, an upward correctional movement begins when Moon enters the Libra Pada of Anuradha. Tuesday UTC. Very early morning, a drastic, likely upward move initiates when Moon enters the Scorpio Pada of Anuradha. Early morning, still before sunrise, an upward consolidation is likely with the Moon's transit of Mars. In the mid-morning, a solution reached initiates a price climb when Moon reaches Mars. Next, late afternoon Tuesday UTC, a drop initiates when Sun enters into trine to Rahu. I see that administrators will be acting in a way that is harmful to crypto markets. In the evening, a deceptive upward correction begins with the Moon's entry into Aquarius in the Navamsha, where Venus also transits. Late night, though, a strong drop is likely, marking an important shift, but it will soon be reversed because of Mercury turning retrograde as Moon enters into trine to Rahu. Wednesday UTC. Very early morning, Wednesday UTC, a downtrend initiates due to corrupt administrative actions which affect crypto markets, but this drop will only last for a short duration. Early morning, still before sunrise, suddenly a significant upward movement initiates when Moon enters into Sagittarius. And around breakfast time, in that same sign of Sagittarius in the sky, Mercury turning retrograde initiates the beginning of a new uptrend that will become apparent on the daily chart in the coming days and weeks. Wednesday night UTC, a price climb begins when Moon enters into trine to Vakri Jupiter. Thursday UTC. Very early morning, an upward movement is likely when Moon starts transiting Vakri Mercury. Early morning, still before sunrise, a stronger upward movement happens when Moon reaches Vakri Mercury. But this Moon ends in the morning and a drop initiates when Moon moves out of trine to Vakri Jupiter. Thursday afternoon UTC, a climb begins when Moon reaches Mars's cuspal degree. Remember that everything starting Wednesday morning UTC I see as being an upward rebound that's going to end up in the weeks to come or soon in setting new highs. But okay, so next, Friday UTC. Very early morning, a climb initiates when Moon enters Uttarashada. Then Friday morning at breakfast time, an upward movement happens when Moon enters into Capricorn, where Mars transits in the Navamsha. Next, late evening UTC, a strong drop happens when Moon enters the Pisces Pada of Uttarashada. So next, Saturday UTC. Very early morning, an upward correction begins when Moon enters Shravana. In the evening, a strong upward movement initiates, setting a significant trend, as I mentioned, in the upcoming days and weeks, when Moon enters into the Cancer Pada of Shravana, joining Vakri Jupiter and Vakri Mercury in the Navamsha. What that means is basically the new trend that's actually, as I see it, beginning on Wednesday morning. What's going to happen is that Saturday, when Moon joins Mercury and Jupiter, both retrograde in the Navamsha, that's when something is going to be understood, or basically a reason for this new upswing is understood. That should definitely have something to do with the ETF filings. But again, the first half of this week up to Wednesday morning UTC, I do see a high probability of strong correctional drops, especially for Bitcoin. And the whole week, even after the upswing starts, it's still going to be crazy because Mercury will have turned retrograde, and in this case, that's going to be influencing the price action quite a bit. Okay, so that's also because Mercury retrograde is going to be retrograding back into trine to retrograding Jupiter in the sky. Okay, so don't forget to read my disclaimer in the details section of this video below. So that was the weekly forecast for Bitcoin and Ether price for the week ahead. Remember to check out ShiningBull.com for real-time trading signals, weekly forecasts with price points and important bullish and bearish timeframes, and of course predictive books and that show you how the astrology will be defining the larger price cycles. Now is a great time to get the Bitcoin by 2026 and Ethereum by 2026 books if you don't already have them, as well as the Cosmic Guide to Ethereum Layer 2 Solutions. I'm going to be talking a bit about something in that book coming up right now, but that book covers Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygonmatic, Starknet, and ZK Sync. And so now let's talk about some news items from this past week. This week I want to talk about something relating to Starknet. This past Friday, December 8th, Starknet Foundation made a significant announcement regarding the distribution of 1.8 billion Stark tokens. This includes 900 million STRK tokens that they will award in rebates to users of the Layer 2 network. This to me sounds like something which could create wealth for people who use this Layer 2, similar to how airdrops create wealth. This recent news reminded me of a prediction I shared in my video titled, "Will Starknet have an airdrop? Find out!" In that video, I predicted that Starknet will likely start implementing its STRK tokens. The tokens actually already exist, but that they'll start implementing that token for various functions such as governance, staking, and gas fee payments around the time that Jupiter transits Starknet's natal Rahu. I mentioned this period beginning in the latter half of May of 2024. But since Mercury is going to turn retrograde really close to Starknet's natal Venus, I see that this recently announced initial distribution is likely to begin earlier, as early as the end of January, when Mercury returns direct to Starknet's natal Venus. But as a warning, at this moment, Mercury and Mars will be together in the sky on Starknet's natal Venus. And Mercury and Mars together often causes hacks in the crypto world, or in general. And this means that hacks or phishing attempts related to this particular airdrop are likely, and this is something indeed that both the Starknet Foundation should be aware of, and also developers should be trying to preempt that. So they should be aware of that. So anyway, Starknet is really interesting to me as an astrologer. In my book, The Cosmic Guide to Ethereum Layer 2 Solutions, I go into why the STRK Stark token will be a promising long-term investment. So basically into the end of 2025. So not something to, like a longer-term hold. The book discusses the potential benefits of acquiring this token early on. So for people who already transact on this Layer 2, or for people who are willing to get going on that in order to possibly benefit from this token distribution, I recommend staying up to date with the upcoming Stark token distribution, possibly following their Twitter and so on. Indeed, on Friday, December 8th, when they announced the distribution, I noticed that Moon was transiting with Ketu, who is currently trining Starknet's natal Jupiter. Starknet's natal Jupiter forms a Dhan Yoga for wealth, and this shows that this initiative of the initial distribution, which they've just announced, is going to end up creating wealth for the ecosystem as a whole, probably because of the kind of slow, healthy way that this foundation seems to be incentivizing its developers and people who actually work on its design itself. So yeah, and if you read the tweet, it looks like a very well thought out, sustainable kind of vision, which is how they seem to do things. Anyway, but in my book, I go into a few more interesting things about this token and about this network. So anyway, this again suggests to me that the initial distribution, which I see as being likely to happen around the end of January, or at the end of January, will be a precursor to how this token is going to be implemented within the ecosystem, beginning near the end of May. And the end of May is when this token, STRK, will start to make gains and be available also to retail. But this token, again, looks like a longer term investment to me, and you can read more about it on my book, The Cosmic Guide to Ethereum Layer 2 Solutions, available on ShiningBull.com, and particularly interesting to read alongside the Ethereum by 2026 book. So that's all for this week, and I will see you next week. Thank you.